Hey, hey, hey. What's going on, guys? What is up? Y'all come on in here, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you are here. Do me a favor if you're coming in, throw me some fire or hearts or something in the comments. Share. Let's get some people in the room. You guys, I'm here. I told you I'd be here. It's Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I'm here. I'm here, child. I'm here. So y'all come on in here, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you are here. We are going back to the old school. We are going back to what we used to do, which is I used to go live every Tuesday and Thursday, but I used to do it at 5. I am going to do it today at 7. No, starting now on at 7. Hey, Chelsea. Hey girl, hey, if you're coming in, say hey, what's up? Hey, Angela. Listen, you guys get your questions ready. Let's talk about homeschooling, all the questions, all the things related to homeschooling. I am here and I'm ready and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have. For those of you that are unfamiliar with me, if you can hear me, do me a favor and put a thumbs up in the comments so I know that you can hear me. I can't see the reactions, but if you put the thumbs up in the actual comments, I can see those. I almost wrote on your page and reminded you that you didn't ask if we wanted to allow. I did, Shelby. I asked maybe around 12 o'clock, like 11:30, 12 o'clock, I made a post. I did. Um, but yeah, so go in there anyway, even though I'm live, still go on there and put on there. Yeah, I want to see you. Okay. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. So I'm glad that you can hear me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. So let's have this conversation. Let's talk about homeschooling. Let's talk about the benefits. Let's talk about the sucky parts. Let's talk about the good parts. Let's talk about all that. Okay. All of it is on the table and open. We can discuss it. Okay. If you're unfamiliar with me, my name is Sean Taylor. I go by the name of Sean, the homeschool guru. My husband and I are homeschooling our 3 kids. Actually, no longer. That's a lie. We are homeschooling 2 kids. So we graduated our oldest, our daughter, last year in May. She graduated from homeschooling in May. And then we have a 16-year-old son, Deuce, that is in high school. And we have a 13-year-old son, Mason, who is in middle school. So we have 2 homeschoolers left. We graduated our first, which was a great experience. I probably will do it a little different for each child as far as the graduation process is concerned, based off of what they like and what they need and what they prefer, being honest with you. Yanni's was really extravagant. And I think it was just because it was the first graduation. I wanted to feel like it was a normal, right, quote unquote, normal graduation. And so I went all out. I rented the African American Museum in Dallas, and she had her cabin down, and all our family and friends, the ones that were super close to us, were there. It was about a total of maybe 80 people, and she walked down, and we had dinner. We broke bread together, all of that. So it was a big old thing. But I know like Deuce, he's not going to want that. He's not going to want that at all. That's going to be too much for him. He might, I don't know, but so it's going to be different. So anyway, I said all that to say that my husband and I have been homeschooling for approximately, I want to say 7-ish years, maybe. It was never in our plan to homeschool. We never thought this is something that we would do. But after some things took place and some things that happened, homeschooling just became an option. It became an option for us. And it has been the best decision for us thus far. Now, does that mean that we will always homeschool? Maybe not. There are times that we consider putting them in schools for different reasons, and I'll discuss that if you ask or whatever. But yeah, maybe not. But as of right now, yeah, it is what it is. Chelsea said, when do you know it was time for graduation? So for Ayana, I followed Texas state law for graduation. So she was actually earning credits like you do. And so like if you have to have a certain amount of math credits, a certain like 4 math credits, 4 English credits, 2 science credits, 2 history credits, something like that. I can't remember, but it's a total of 22 to 26 credit hours in order to be to graduate, and I think 22 is the bare minimum. 26 is if you're in honors, dual enrollment, something like that. And she ended up graduating with 24 credits as far as high school is concerned. So I went off, I used her because she wanted to go to a 4-year school. I used the Texas state law, the graduation requirement, so that when she transferred to wherever she was going to go, there would be no issue with it. And I know a lot of people get concerned about the diploma because the diploma is what we see, right? When kids are standing up and they're like, ah, I got my diploma. And then the mom puts the diploma on the mantle or hangs it up or whatever. The diploma is what we're used to seeing as verification that the child graduated. When it comes to college, colleges don't give a flip about the diploma at all. And you can order a diploma. Anybody can order a diploma and say that they graduated from high school with no issues online. There's a whole website that creates them for you, but there's a specific website that we went to. I think it's called Homeschool Diploma that I went to for Ayana's, and it actually looks like a real. I mean, it is a real one, but it looks like it lines up closely with the other diplomas. But when it comes down to homeschooling, colleges don't give a flip about the diploma. They do not care. They do not ask for the diploma. They do not ask for copies of it. They don't care. They don't care. Just being very honest with you. What they care about is the transcript. So that's what they're going to ask you for. When your child is enrolling or they're ready to pick their classes, whatever the case may be, they're going to be like, okay, great, let's have your transcript. And the transcript will have to be notarized. And so that's what they care about. They don't care about the diploma. So if the diploma is scaring you, like, oh, where do I get the diploma from? Who issues it, to the child? It all depends on the state. So for Texas, we are the school. We're kind of like a private school in a sense. And so my husband and I issued the diploma. He signed as the principal. I signed as the administrator, no, as the teacher or something. I don't know, counselor. But we both signed it or whatever and did it that way. But when it came to enrolling her into college, the thing that they cared about was the transcript. They didn't care about anything else. They didn't give a flip about the diploma. So don't let that stop you from homeschooling, okay? Now, other states may feel, I can pretty much say that most states will ask for the transcript over the diploma, but as far as the issuing of the diploma, I don't know 100% how that works for all of the states. Okay. I just answered that question in such a long way. I'm sorry. I hope you got all the information you were looking for. Okay. But that's what it boils down to. Um, it's you in Texas, you pretty much do it all. You do everything. What I did was her freshman year of high school, actually towards her 8th grade, and this is where I teach everybody to start homeschooling high school. Okay. I teach them to do it backwards. Okay. So, and I keep saying, okay, I'm sorry. I teach them to do it backwards. So I teach them to ask their child what the goal is, what the end game is. Okay, when I finish high school, I want to go to vocational school, or I want to be doing this, I want to be doing that. So then we start from that point and we plan backwards to get to that end game. Okay. And so if that means and so hers changed, and that was an issue too, because I mentioned to you guys, she had wanted to go to just art school all the way up until her junior year. Her senior year, she determined that she wanted to go to a 4-year college, which was great, smart idea, no big deal, whatever the case may be. But I had planned her school based off of her going to an art school. And so when she said that, it kind of had us cram and push a little bit further, a little bit harder to make sure that she could do whatever she wants to do. But if you are homeschooling and you're homeschooling at high school, and a lot of families stop homeschooling at high school. But if you're homeschooling a high schooler, my suggestion to you is to plan backwards. What is the goal? What goal are you trying to reach? Are you trying to go to a 4-year vocational? Are you just trying to go work? Are you going to the military? Like, what are all those things that you want to do? And then I start planning backwards. This is what you need to get to that goal. Start planning backwards. So in senior year, you should have this many credits in this. In junior year, you should have this many credits in this. Sophomore year, you should have this. Freshman, you should have this. And so that's how I planned her high school career. Um, and again, because she was going to the art school was different. I had her planning towards the art school, but then she decided that she didn't want to go to the art school. But the good part about that for me was I lined it up still kind of closely with the traditional school system. So there wasn't too much work that we had to do. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? That was a good question. Y'all, let me know if you can hear me, and thumbs up or something in the comments, because I don't see anything else going on. You could be not talking, but I'm just saying. Let me know in the comments if you can still hear me. You guys are welcome to ask any question concerning homeschooling. Um, right now, we are in a big transition in our family. I told you guys prior to postponing the brunch that our family was going through something that was going to cause a lot of attention and needed 100% focus. And it seems that maybe that has come to an end. Maybe we will be moving forward, and I'm excited about that. Thank you, Shelby. Cousin, hey cousin, thank you. How long have I been homeschooling? I believe, cousin, I don't really remember 100%, but I can tell you we started our business in 2015. And when 2015 came, I was at home. I had been at home by then. And then I think shortly after we started the business, within a year or so, I started homeschooling the kids. So I want to say 2016, but I have not actually gone back and said, oh, I've been homeschooling for this many years, being honest with you. But I know that the business, one particular business that we started, the transportation business, started in March of 2015. The kids were still in school. I think like come that next fall, if I remember correctly, or maybe the fall after that or something like that, they were no longer in school. Hey Loretta, thank you so much for joining me. Hey girl, hey. So that's so let's just say 2016 is what I'm going to say. And that may be off by, like, I may have been doing it a little bit, longer or a little bit less. It's like in between, somewhere around 2016. Okay. And I did it scared, and I did it anxious, and I did it worried. I did it like, and so that's one of the things I tell people all the time, regardless of what you're feeling, as far as the anxiety, as far as the stress of whether you can or you can't, or you're not going to be able to do it. It's a learning curve, it's a learning process. Do it scared. Do it scared. If you're broke and you're concerned about getting, that's one of the things people say all the time. I'm broke, I can't afford to homeschool because I can't buy curriculum. Everything, there's tons of websites that you can go to that are free. One of the best websites you can go to if you're homeschooling and you're looking for free curriculum is freedomhomeschooling.com. And basically all that is a homeschool mom collected all of the free curriculums they could find and made a list for you, and you can click on them. You can do whatever you want. Now she gets paid based off of advertisement on that, and there may be some affiliate links in there for her. I don't know. Hopefully there is, so that she can get paid. But she made an entire website or entire thing, freedomhomeschool.com. That's free. Not only that, but you can go to the library, and the library is free all day, every day. Okay. But I tell everybody, if you are considering homeschooling, to do it scared, do it broke, do all of it. Like, do it, get it done. That was one of the most important things that I can say really in the situation. When it comes down to you have to do it scared, because I'm not going to be honest. I don't know if at any point, because it's been so ingrained in us that the traditional school system is what it is and the only option, the perfect option. Because of that, I think we all get a little bit scared at some point that we may not be doing or lining up or whatever the case may be. And so you have to speak over yourself. We talked about that this morning. You have to speak over yourself. You have to, right? There are going to be days when it's great. There are going to be days when it sucks. There's going to be days. There's going to be all those days, right? But you have to be able to speak over yourself. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm here with you at least until 7:30, more likely to 7:45. Y'all, okay, so listen, I'm gonna tell you first. I'm gonna tell you first. Um, I want to buy some more curriculum. Actually, I'm not telling you first because I told my best friend today, but I want to buy some more curriculum. I found two curriculums that I'm really interested in and I really want to buy. Don't tell my husband. He's not on live. He's not here. He's not here. He'll probably watch the replay, but he won't be paying attention, so he'll miss this part. I know he'll miss this part. But there's more curriculum that I want to buy. I know I have to give me curriculums. I know I'll be giving stuff away. I know I don't need, I know, but I want to buy it. I want to buy it. Rachel says, are you familiar with unschooling? I am, Rachel. What kind of questions do you have? So what I will say to you also when it comes to this, let's talk about that, okay? So unschooling is not homeschooling, okay? It's not what homeschooling is. Like, it's not, there's homeschooling and then there's unschooling. That's not what there is. There's homeschooling, which is the big umbrella, and then there's different ways to homeschool, and unschooling falls underneath that umbrella. So unschooling, the eclectic method, the Waldorf method, the Montessori method, the traditional method, all of those fall underneath the umbrella of homeschooling. It's not separate, if anybody wanted to know that. Hey, best friend. I'm about to do it scared because this little isn't doing great in public school at all. What areas here in Fort Worth have you found to have a good melanin presence? We live the Hazlet area in Brown in. Okay, so Shelby, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not very familiar with a lot of people as far as the communities in Fort Worth, but what I will say is that there are great homeschooling communities in there that have us brown folks in there as well. But I don't know of a specific group that is full of us. Now there is the Facebook group Black Homeschoolers DFW, and they are kind of based out of the South, I believe. And they, when they were doing field trips, see, and the group has died off so much as like as before it was or whatever. But when I say died off, they used to do field trips and all that kind of stuff. I don't really see that as much. But that there's Black DFW homeschoolers. What I would say to you is try different things, and hopefully you'll connect up and find those people that you're supposed to be homeschooling with. All of the brown homeschoolers that I homeschool with, I didn't actually meet at a homeschool function. My best friend is my best friend, so we were already connected through her husband. And then my friend Nicole that I homeschool, we were already connected through our boys and soccer. It just happened to be that we were homeschooling. And so all of the people that, I mean, I've connected with a few, but all of the families that we actually associate with at homeschool, we kind of did it. It was random as far as that was concerned. Let's see. But buy it and share it with, I know, Shelby. Okay, so listen, I'm excited. There's two of, well, there's one in particular I'm really excited about. And it's about like financial math and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm big on teaching the kids stuff that they're actually going to use when they get older. And I know my husband will like that, but I've also already bought Dave Ramsey. And the other day I had, what had happened was I had found that I had bought some Dave Ramsey curriculum, and we love Dave Ramsey when it comes to money stuff. And what had happened was I had forgot I had bought it, and I hadn't even opened it, and it had been sitting there for like a week, and he just had happened to be there when I had found it. So he told me I had to chill out on buying curriculum. So that's what had happened. Okay. Now he's not on here. I still don't see him pop up in here in the comments. He might pop in, I don't know. But if I tell him, he might let me get it in like a month or two or so. But that's what had happened. I had bought curriculum and had forgot I had bought it, and it had been sitting on the bookshelf. And then I was like, oh, I was getting some books for my best friend to get to her. And I was like, oh shoot, I bought this like a year ago. It's not even opened. So I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Was that, yeah, Freedom? Yes, Loretta, freedomhomeschooling.com. Go to Freedom Homeschooling. She's got it listed by subject, she's got it listed by grade, and they're all, everything in there is free in different options. And so check it out and see what you need. Hey, Yvette, what about parents that cannot stay at home? So again, Yvette, things are going to look different than the average homeschooler, right? Things are going to look different for you than it's going to look for me, because I can be at home with my child. It's going to have to be custom fit and tailor made to fit you and your life. So say for instance, you are working a regular 9 to 5. I don't know if you're staying home, like you're actually in the home, or if you're working from home, but there are different things that you will have to do. I mentioned last week, bartering is always an option. Bartering with other homeschool, moms. Hey, if you can, you take my kid and teach them this subject, and I'll do this in return. Like maybe I'll teach this subject, or whatever the case may be. Your schooling hours will probably be different than everybody else's. We get up maybe during the day and do yours, but because you're working a 9 to 5, you won't be able to do yours in the day. You might have to do yours in the evening or on the weekends. I always give these two examples because I think they're the bombest examples ever. Two clients, two different clients. One client is a nurse. She works on weekends, Friday through Sunday, 7 to 7. Okay. And the rest of the day she's off. So the way that her week starts is a Friday is her Monday technically. So she works Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Monday she comes home and she rests and kind of gets back into things, whatever the case may be. The kids homeschool Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then the rest of that time while she's at work, they do independent work or whatever assignments, whatever it is that she wants them to do. So that's how they do it. Okay. I have a client that is married. She works in the day. No, he works in the day, like 9 to 5, and she works in the evening from 6 to whatever. And they're literally passing each other, coming in like, give me kiss, bye, have a good day at work. And so the way that they choose to homeschool is he teaches a couple of subjects and she teaches a couple of subjects. And so that's how they handle it in their household. But it's going to look completely different than the average homeschooler. You're going to have to find your own rhythm that's going to work for you. But barter, use your community, use your family if they let you, use the other homeschooling community, do whatever you can as far as that's concerned. Rachel says, I pulled my daughter from school because of mental health. Boys calling her, ooh, no ma'am. Teacher's not taking care of it. I'll let her unschool this year to help get her mental better. Yeah, unschooling, now, I'm gonna be honest with you, unschooling is a great option. And I have met several families who have fully unschooled, right? Basically, it's unschooling is child-led, right? Any and everything is a learning opportunity, but that's homeschooling in general, but it's a little bit less structured, if I would say, is how I would describe it. Now, for me and my kids who need structure and thrive on structure, unschooling is not going to work. But I have seen countless amount of families who have done the unschool thing the whole entire time, and then all of a sudden the kids get to high school and they decide, oh, I want to learn this. And so then they start doing whatever it is that they want to do. And so unschooling can work. It absolutely can work. It just depends on what you want to do. Rachel says superintendent couldn't even meet with us to help. See, Rachel, you see, no comment. I don't have nothing nice to say, so I'm gonna hush. Just wondering if I was wrong giving her the year to recuperate. No, if you have thought about it, prayed about it, meditated on it, whatever you feel, Rachel, and you feel like the best decision right here in this moment is to unschool, then you should do that. But with that said, just because you're unschooling her doesn't mean that she's still not learning, right? She's learning in a different way. And so, even though maybe you're not working on math, right? But you're cooking, you're learning fractions and all that kind of stuff with cooking. Maybe you're not focusing on sentence structure, but you're spending time every day reading different books and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you're not doing the science projects, but you're taking the opportunity to go to the science museum, or you're taking the opportunity to go on hikes and learn different things about the nature that's local to your particular area. So it's not a book learning situation, but learning in a different way. So if that's what you feel that your baby needs, if that's what you think is going to work for her, then do that. Do that with full confidence that it's going to be okay. And again, say for instance, you're in unschooling and maybe you're thinking, this is not working. It's not how I want it to be. I kind of want her to do a little bit more of traditional work. You have the freedom to add that into unschooling. So that's where the eclectic method would come in. So you have the option to say, I'm going to unschool, but also, you know what? I don't want you to get rusty on your numbers, or I don't want you to do this. So we're going to do this added on to that. Okay. So you have that option as well. So don't think that just because you choose to unschooling that you're stuck at unschooling. You have the freedom to move however you need to move, whenever you need to move. You have that freedom. Okay. Okay, link the Dave Ramsey because we love him. Okay, so Shelby, there's okay, so just go on his website, Shelby. He has a whole bunch of stuff. So he has the money management finances, I think, for middle school and high school, and then he has entrepreneur for middle school and high school. Like there's a bunch of different curriculums for kids, and it comes with a DVD. Like not yeah, it comes with a DVD, and then I think depending upon which package you get, it's like a DVD and a workbook, or maybe a DVD and a couple workbooks, something like that. But see, um I had bought the DVD and then I had all three of the workbooks instead of one. Yeah, Mr. Taylor was not too happy. He was not too happy. You're welcome. Cousin, don't listen. Yes, bartering, cousin, barter. So say for instance, cousin, we cousins, right? We blood, we in the same area. Say for instance, but let me do this before I do that because I don't homeschool nobody kids. I don't. That people ask me all the time. Oh, you homeschool? Can you homeschool my kids? No, but I can teach you how to homeschool. I can help you do it. And um, so I can't homeschool your baby for you, love you with all my heart, but I can't do that. But what you can do is say that you find a group, a somebody that you kick it with. Say for instance, I'm not even gonna lie to you. So my best friend is on here, Kristen, and Nicole may be coming in, popping in and out. But they say for instance, Nicole was like, hey, I want to teach this science lesson. How about if we do this and we each get a unit to teach? Well, that would work great for us, right? So there's not so much on me to teach a full unit of science, or a full course of science. It's shared between three different families. One of the things that also that we're thinking about doing is actually having, field trips as a group. Like we're going and doing field trips. Another thing that we're doing is she's doing a book club. So she's going to do a book club. She actually, you know what? She posted about it. I'm supposed to buy a book. Anyway, she's doing a book club where we're going to read a book individually at home, and then we'll get together maybe on Zoom sometimes, and then we'll get together in person and discuss the book. Like she's doing all that kind of stuff. So I mean, what it boils down to when it comes to homeschool is, I hate to say it too, is see a need, fill a need, right? So Nicole saw a need for the book club thing. for our babies to be reading books and talking and communicating and all that good stuff. So she created what she wanted, what she needed. And there always is somebody out there. Now, what I will say is homeschoolers are flaky because we're so used to the fact that we can move however we want to move or need to move when we need to move. We can be extremely flaky. And so, with that said, you may create something and only a few people show up. Don't take it personal. Homeschoolers are flaky, like real talk. So that's just is what that is on that point. Okay. Yep, bothering. Love everything you're saying. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Rachel. Shelby screaming. Shelby, don't do that. Don't scream. Cause I listen, y'all. I had three of the same book. I had three, and I told you I graduated Yanni last year. So we were supposed to do this curriculum last last year. Um, yeah. So I he kind of put me on punishment from buying curriculum because I had, normally I can like sneak it in, like it'd be like sneaking into the house and then we start using our Reddit and he was like, oh, when did y'all start that? Oh, we've been at it. Truthfully, we have, but you just missed when it came into the house. This time I got caught red-handed and it was over a year old. Y'all, I stay, but part of that though is for y'all being honest. When I speak on curriculums, I want to speak from a place of truth and not from a place of, oh, I think, or it might be okay. Like I try to say, like if you ask me about power homeschool, which I'm getting a lot of questions about, first thing I'm gonna say is no comment on what the Sam Hill is going on with that. That has nothing to do with me. I'm gonna stay my behind over here. Um, but power homeschool for my family was boring. So when people ask that, I say that we've tried time for learning. Time for learning was too kiddie. My kids were older. They didn't like the whole kiddie cartoon aspect of it. Okay. Study.com was cool. Excuse me. But the issue with study.com was they felt like they moved to the next concept too quickly. And so I try to try things so that when I come or you are asking me about curriculums, I can give you an honest, opinion. But I also say with that, always try it because again, just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean that it won't work for you. Okay. I mean, and that's honest and true. So yeah, I mean, I tried them all. Okay. I don't try them all. I try lots, should I say. All right. You guys got me for another 15 minutes or so. So let's have this talk. Like, what other questions do you have? Um, I called my best friend again today and I was like, today we're only reading. Like this, there are days like that, y'all. Just being honest with you. Again, our life, we're going through a huge transition in our life right now, and it's taking a lot out of me physically, mentally. It's taking a lot out of just having to, like, my head hurts. How about that? And so it's a stressful situation. And so there are some days when it's like today we got up and we did something that took a minute or whatever. They just read today. They didn't do, their full load of schoolwork. It just is what it is. They'll get caught up later on, I guess. Hey, Latanya. Latanya says, is kindergarten too soon to start homeschooling a child? I love my grandson and I promise I really don't want him going to public schools. I think about it all the time. Latanya, no, it's not too young to start homeschooling. What I would say for a kindergartner is to be aware of the time that you spend with them, educating them. Don't think that because that they're supposed to sit there for 6 or 7 hours and do a school lesson at that age around kindergarten. Think about it, kindergarten. If you ever gone to a kindergarten class and sat and observed or done anything like that, the teacher stands up and she's kind of active a little bit, talking for about 5 minutes or so, and then maybe there's a worksheet or something. So I talk about this as well. Let's talk about community service helpers, right? The police officers and the firemen and all that. So when they're young, they talk about them and who they are and what they do. The teacher talks about it. They may get a worksheet to line up what their hat with their uniform, their car or their truck or car, whatever, with them, the building that they go in and miss, and what does it mean. They may go over all the safety things. The kids do a little worksheet that goes along with it, and then there's centers, right? They get to go to the center and dress up and do different things and do all kind of things as far as that's concerned. So be mindful that when you're teaching a kid that young, that lessons really should only be like 5 or 10 minutes, and then you hand them a worksheet or you hand them something like that, and they get to work and do whatever it is they need to do. But you should not be doing a 6 hour day full of schoolwork. Like we're not doing that. Teachers don't even do that. They spend about 15 minutes on something and then they move on. Okay. And then with all the interruptions, they may spend all day on the same concept because kindergartners, right? And their interruptions and their, oh, she's looking at me. and they're interrupting and somebody's picking their nose and you know how it all goes. But yeah, no, it's not too young. What I would say for you, Latanya, is check your local laws. Because like for Texas, we don't have to actually start homeschooling till 6 years old. Now you can, right? Kid has to be in school by the time they're six and in kindergarten, but you don't have to, until they're 6 years old. So check and see if there's any laws like that in your state. Okay. Is it Simonia? Tell me if I'm wrong. Any advice on working while homeschooling? Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong in your name. I really want to say it right. My advice for homeschooling and working is that you have to determine what your non-negotiables are. Okay. What are the things that you cannot change? For instance, your work hours. I have to work from 9 to 5. That means that I cannot, homeschool my kid. Maybe you're there or maybe you're not. But that's one thing, is figure out your non-negotiables. The second thing is, based on the level of independence for the child, how can you homeschool your child and still work? So say for instance, just my three different kids, right? I could work a 9 to 5 if Ayana was at home and assign her schoolwork, and it would get done every day. It may not get done in the morning, it may get done in the evening, it may not get done till late that night, but I could assign her schoolwork and it can get done every day. My boys, they are not independent workers like that. I could not assign them schoolwork every day and it get done. Like, it would not get done. Being honest with you, sometimes they fake now doing schoolwork and I catch them in that fake, right? And so that's one of the things. Another thing that I mentioned earlier in the live is bartering. Okay. Right. So join your local homeschool community, a different mom or something like that. Hey, can you homeschool my kid? Or can you teach my kid math, and I will take your kids and babysit for a couple hours every week. Something simple like that. Use your family. I have a client that has her mom, it was a history teacher. And so what they choose to do is they do Zoom classes on Zoom. They do Zoom classes. They do classes on Zoom for the mother to teach them history because she's in another state. And so the mother gets to do something that she's passionate about and she loves to do. The kids get to learn, unfiltered from their grandmother, which is, that's going to be memorable regardless whether they like it right now. When they get older, it's going to be memorable. And so barter, find those different things. Remember that it's not going to look like the traditional school system. Remember that you can homeschool at any day, anytime, any moment. If that means homeschooling on the weekends only, if that means homeschooling in the mornings, like in the mornings, maybe you do a class and then I don't know where you're going to send them or whatever the case may be. And then you do some more when you get home. It's just going to look different. You're going to have to custom make it fit you and your family. Okay. Chelsea, do you issue grades? Yes, I do issue grades. Because I was grading first because I wanted to see the progression of my kids and what they were and weren't doing. And then, but I wasn't showing it to them in the beginning. They asked to see the grades. And so now they see the grades. And so, yeah, we do grade in our house, but you don't necessarily have to unless your state requires it. Yep. Oh, best friend, Latanya? Yeah, learn through play. Absolutely. When they're long. Yes, absolutely. When they're that young, learn via play. Hey Chantel, my fourth grader hates language arts. He has discussed that he's going to the fifth grade and considering not doing a full LA curriculum. We use IEW right now. I'm thinking of just doing a Spectrum $10 workbook this fall. Chantel, it depends on what you want to do. So he hates it, justifiably so, because it's difficult for him. I would research, I would go to, I think the book, that 102 curriculums, I'll post the link when I get off of here for you, but that has some information for you as far as that's concerned. There is a page that you can follow. It is called either Homeschooling with Dyslexia or something like that, that can help you, give you resources and ideas and all that stuff to help you go through that process. Unfortunately, that's not something that I necessarily have to deal with. So I haven't really I know that sounds stupid. I'm sorry hearing that come out my mouth, but it's the truth. I am big on being transparent with you guys. But there is a page called Homeschooling with Dyslexia that would be able to help you as far as that's concerned. But my concern with the workbooks, unless you're using something like what are those ones that I really like, y'all? I can't use them anymore. My kids are too big. Um, Gosh, I just saw it. I can see it in my head. I can't think of this. It's not Spectrum because I don't like Spectrum. It's another one. Chantel, when I get back to the comments, I think I know exactly what I'm trying to say. Just can't. Is it Quest? Map? It's not Map Quest. Quest? I don't know. I can't think of what it is, but there's a specific workbook that I like that is really good that you could almost use for an all-in-one curriculum for the younger kids. You could actually, you probably could actually, being honest with you. I found mine at Sam's and I find mine at Whole, no, half price books, but they're kind of sometimes they're written in there, and then I find them at that other place. What else wrong with my brain right now? Barnes and Nobles. I find them at Barnes and Nobles, and but they're more expensive at Barnes and Nobles. I can't think of the name of it. Best friend, maybe you can help me. I don't know. Yeah, Miss Monica Circle Time is good stuff. That's true. Oh, okay, great to know. I may be working from home soon. Yeah, you have to barter. You said my name correctly. Oh, that's great. My sons are 12, 10, and 7, super independent, all of them. Thank you. You're welcome. So yours is going to, it's going to look different. And with that said, you're again, it's going to look different than everyone else who doesn't necessarily have to work and homeschool. And you just be patient in that. One of the things that I have to tell you guys as well, I think as moms, we're used to making things work quickly, right? So say for instance, if we try something, we're like, oh, let me try this for a month. And if it doesn't work, then I'll just switch it or I'll flip it and I can, figure out something else. We're good at that. But homeschooling is not that. Like you cannot homeschool for a month and think that it's going to be great and you've got it figured out and you're not going to have any issues and it's good. I tell people it takes a minimum of a year to get your wings, to understand fully and know exactly what your child needs, right? And so like you're not going to jump into homeschooling and then just have it right off the bat and just be okay with it. Like there's going to be a period of struggle as you go through that process. Like some people are like, oh, I'm going to pull my kid out now and just homeschool till the end of the year. And if it doesn't work out, I'll put him back in September. That's not how homeschooling works. You have to take the time. Our first year, it wasn't miserable, but I can say that we struggled a lot and I didn't start feeling great about homeschooling until our second year. Like I didn't start feeling it. And most people can say the same when it comes to homeschooling. A lot of people don't have it licked immediately. It takes a minute, right? It takes a minute to do something you haven't done before. It's not like regular things. I just don't know what to say. That's right, Chelsea, you're in Texas. I forgot. I'll check it out. 180 days. But no, it's not 180. It's Brain Quest. There it is. Brain Quest. Chantel, it's Brain Quest. Okay. So Brain Quest workbooks are the best workbooks in my opinion. They are an all-in-one workbook. So they have math, they have ELA, they have all of that. They have all of the things that you need. And what you can do if your child is independent, I think it only goes up to sixth grade, if I remember correctly. It starts at pre-K and goes all the way up to sixth grade, but it's so detailed, it's insane. Someone just called. I'm sorry. Actually, it was my therapist calling. I don't know why. I don't have an appointment with her today. I don't think. Do I have an appointment with her today? Best friend, do I have a therapy appointment today? I don't think so. I don't think I have an appointment today. But anyway, now my brain is like, oh shoot, do I have an appointment and I messed it up? I didn't put it on my calendar. Um, but anyway, um, Brain Quest books. They start at pre-K and they go all the way up until sixth grade, and they're extremely detailed. And what you can do is you can find YouTube videos. Oh, y'all, I found a new website for you. I forgot about that. Okay, I'll post that later. What you can do is you can go find YouTube videos or you can go on this thing that I'm going to show you soon and find videos to go along with whatever subject matter you're teaching and then do the worksheet and have them do it as far as that's concerned. So you can do it that way. Those Brain Quest workbooks are the best. They're the absolute best. I recommend those to everybody. Let's see. I hear a lot of good talk about homeschooling, including sports. Kudos to all the parents with the patience. Yeah, and listen, I don't want you to think, Latanya, that we all have the patience of Job to do this thing. We don't. We lose our ish sometimes. We lose it. We yell, we scream, we argue, we take away things we're not supposed to. We do all of that and then have to come back and correct ourselves, right? We have to come back and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have acted this way, what, or try to figure out why we behaved in the way that we behaved. We do not have the patience of Job. I know people think that just because we're homeschooling, that our patience must be immaculate. It must be amazing. It is not. We lose our mess all the time. Like we trip out as well. Okay. So don't think that we're over here sitting here perfect, like our kids are doing what they're supposed to do and we're like not losing our stuff. I see that my best friend, Kristen, call her and ask her. She'll tell you, like, I've called her many a times and said, girl, let me tell you what your nephews did. Like, I'm about to fight your nephews. Come get them. And so, I mean, there have been plenty of times that we've texted all of that stuff, and I have pretty much said, I'm about to fight my kids. So, I mean, we don't have the patience of Job at all. Any thoughts on micro schools or co-op startups? Former public school educator here who has no interest in my school attending public school. He's 3 now, but I love to offer services in the area of Central Florida. Whitney, okay, so I absolutely think that um, co-ops are great. Co-ops are amazing. I absolutely do believe in those. Now, the micro schools have they were, in essence, they were a great idea, but they have shifted so much since the panorama. Y'all know I can't say the real word. Um, and so they have shifted so much to make a micro school into an actual school type setting situation. And a lot of homeschoolers don't necessarily want public school at home. And so that it depends on what you want, is what I'm saying. So if you're a parent and you're like, I like the traditional way, I want things to line this way, then micro schooling would be the best option. That would be good for you. Micro schooling or the university model would be good for you. But like if you're like us, where the traditional side of things doesn't really matter to us, there are specifics on what we want to learn, then it wouldn't fit. So I feel great about co-ops, but I'm kind of on micro schooling just because what they stand for now changed after the panorama. It was like because all this stuff was going on, teachers were coming off and they were like, oh, I'm a certified teacher, I'm going to start a micro school. And what they did was they basically started a micro public school system. Like they started a micro public classroom. And that may work for some families, but that's when it comes to homeschooling, that's not what homeschooling is. Like that's not it. It's not a school it's not a school with their school rules and all that good stuff. To not go too much into that, Whitney, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Yvette, let's see. I did Brain Quest and Summers as a kid. Haha. Yeah, Brain Quests are amazing. Okay, cool. I've used those books before. Yes, Brain Quests are great, y'all. Brain Quest, out of all the all-in-one workbooks, Brain Quest is top tier. Spectrum is boring to me, and to me, it leaves off a lot of stuff. Brain Quest is so detailed, it's irritating almost. Like it's like, do I have to teach this? And so what you can do again is find a YouTube video. I'm gonna give you this new website once I get off of here. Probably not tonight, maybe tonight. I don't know. But I'm gonna give you this new website and you can go on there and play around with it and do whatever it is that you need to do. And then you give them the workbook pages or whatever it is to go along with whatever video you're doing, right? So say you're doing a kindergartner and you're working on adding, one digit addition, then you teach a video on one digit addition, or you do the work with them, right? You're teaching them one digit addition, they watch a video, and then they also maybe have a little activity to go along with it or a worksheet, something to that effect to reinforce what it was that was just taught. Okay. Yeah, Brain Quests are amazing. Love Brain Quest. I use those as well. You can find workbooks on Amazon specifically for kids that are dyslexic. That is correct. That is correct. Yes, I almost put my son out the house today. Like, get out my house. Cause why are you on my nerves? Like, go find you something to do. Like my kids, I always say, go find you something to do before I find you something to do. My kids know if I say that, that means cleaning up. And I mean deep cleaning, like scrubbing baseboards and all that kind of stuff. And so they don't like to do that. So they go find them something productive to do. Okay. Yeah. Kids be kidding, right? They be kidding a lot. They be doing what kids do. And sometimes that gets on our nerves. We are in year 5. We are just getting to really understand each other. Every time we hit our stride, someone died or we experienced a life change. It's been mostly good though. Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's like every time you get it, something shifts and it just caused a major thing. I'm sorry to hear about that, but it looks like you are like pushing through and doing amazing. Got it. Thank you for the insight. I really appreciate it. You are absolutely welcome. I like I said, I would say Whitney, because and also because you're in Florida and you guys do evaluations, I ain't gonna lie, Whitney, instead of doing, and this is to all the people who are certified teachers, but if you're a certified teacher, I would look into doing an evaluation business. And what that entails, so like in Texas, we don't have evaluators. We don't have to have someone evaluate the work that the kids are doing to make sure that they're on track for what they're doing. Florida does. Florida has to have an evaluator. And so what I would suggest to you is if you are a homeschooling mom, sorry, my chapstick was getting sticky. If you are a homeschool mama, or you're somebody like Whitney who is a certified teacher, I would go into the thought or do some research on what it takes to be an evaluator because you do have to be. I think being a teacher is one of the requirements or something to that effect. Maybe not. I might be lying, but the requirements, it works really well for somebody who's already a teacher is what I remember. But I would look into being an evaluator, okay? And so then that's an entrepreneurial job that you can do on your own. Maybe you can do it statewide, like different states, not just your state. I mean, nationwide, not just your state. And make money. You get to set your own hours, right? Maybe they can scan, you can find a system where they can scan it to you. You can, evaluate it and then do whatever you need to do and send it back. Like all of that good stuff. But I would consider that as an option too, Whitney. And I don't know how important that is to you. Maybe you love and enjoy teaching, and maybe that's what you want to do. So I don't want to deter you too much from that. But that is an option, is to look into being a certified evaluator for homeschoolers. Because like Florida, they have to be evaluated. That has to happen. And so with that said, there you are as a teacher, like, hey girl, I can evaluate you. Let me look at that schoolwork. You know what else somebody else does? Um, I don't know if I want to say this. Okay. I know that there is a place that acts as an umbrella school for homeschoolers, but but they're technically like unschoolers. So they are all underneath this one school. So say it's not me if anybody's listening, okay? But I know somebody who has a school name. Let's just say the school name is ABCD Academy, and the parents pay to enroll their child because there's something that has to be done. It's like a small fee, maybe $20 to $25. They get enrolled under ABC Prep Academy, and that shows that they are enrolled in it, and then they don't have to be evaluated. Somehow in the law, there's a loophole where they can do that. So I know that there are people that do that as well. So Whitney, that's something else that you might want to look into. Okay. Yep. Definitely want to look into that. The requirement is to be certified, so that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, try that. And again, I don't want to deter you. If you're passionate about teaching, you're passionate about babies, and you want to do a co-op, you want to do that, do it. Like if all that works for you, do it. I'm not trying to deter you from that in any kind of way. I'm just saying that may be another option for you. Okay. All right, guys, we got like a few more minutes. I will take two more questions before I get off of here. Again, any homeschool questions you may want to ask. Somebody asked me last week if my husband homeschools. My husband does not actually homeschool. He does random things like interrupt our school day and get on my nerves. No, but for real. Okay, but for real, this is what happens. The plan was my husband was supposed to teach the kids how to drive, and he was supposed to teach history because he enjoys history. That's something that he loves to do. Um, Unfortunately, with his work schedule and the things that he does, sometimes he travels and he's gone for a nice period of time. He was unable to do the driving and the history and stuff, so I ended up doing it. So the goal is to have him teach those subjects, and sometimes he comes in and kind of puts his input in as far as that's concerned. But as far as the curriculum or what they should be learning or anything like that, he may mention like, "Hey, have they learned about this? I think they really should learn." And then it's just I'll take my cue to go look it up and do it as far as that's concerned. But my husband, because of what he's doing, because he's out there taking care of his family, he doesn't actually get to be a part of the actual homeschooling process as much as he probably would prefer. Ish. Let me just say that. Okay. So somebody else asked a question about my husband. I think they asked if my husband agrees with homeschooling. My husband actually brought it to me. My husband actually said, "Hey, what about homeschooling?" Like it was a conversation after some different things that were going on that we ended up homeschooling. Like it was a whole thing. So he's actually in cahoots with me as far as that's concerned. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Got me for about 7 more minutes, and then I'm going to jump off of here. But I will be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. to answer more of your homeschool questions, whatever questions it may be. One of the things I've told you this before too. One of the things I was always scared about homeschooling because I thought, just like everybody else, they're not going to be successful. Some of the homeschoolers I met growing up were weird, and I was like, I don't want my kids to be weird. I want my kids to be able to go to work and hold a job and do all that good stuff. And so that was a fear for me. But when I actually went to a homeschool convention. I'll never go to it again, but I went. And two things happened that were great and really important. The first thing that happened was that I was able to connect with other homeschoolers that looked like me and talk to them about homeschooling, and we connected. We all are still somewhat connected in some kind of way. The second thing that happened was in one of the sessions, there was a lady that was there, and I stopped to talk to her. She was a doctor who was homeschooling her kids. She had, tons of kids. She was a doctor who was homeschooling her kids. I don't have any idea how this woman was being a full MD and homeschooling her kids, but she was homeschooling her kids. I guess thinking back, I imagine she probably had some type of help or tutor or something like that. But she was a whole MD homeschooling her kids. And then her adult child was an MD that had planned to homeschool her kids. So when I talked to her and found out, how that went for her and all that good stuff, I felt like I was capable. Like that was nothing to like homeschooling was not going to hold my kids back. It was all hinged on how I educated them and how serious I took it. If I took it seriously and went in their interest and did what they were supposed to do, then they should be okay. Hence, Ayana being in college. If I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, then Ayana would have had no way to do dual enrollment and all that stuff back in the day, let alone now be in college, right? So that was one of the things that made me realize home like education is way different. It doesn't have to be the way that we all think it has to be, right? Let's see. My husband is in college, and some of his courses are things my oldest is interested in. How can we loop that into our education plan transcript? Um, it depends. It depends. So if it is what type of course is it? So for instance, Ayana took psychology because she was interested. She took a college level psychology class, and they made that a science class for her. So she ended up getting credit for science in that. And so it depends on the course, but he can learn from it, right? Shelby, are you one of the ones who's in Texas as well? But yeah, you definitely can learn for it and put it underneath the transcript however you want to do it. You're welcome, Chelsea. You're welcome, cousin. I will see you guys again. I'm gonna be coming back on Thursday. But yeah, Shelby, are you one of the ones who's in Texas? Because you could definitely do that. Like, and then for instance, as well, I know this is dumb. For history, my daughter wanted to do African American history. So she did have African American history versus doing, that stuff. She did what environmental science instead of doing like she did specifics as far as that's concerned. Yeah, you're in Texas, engineering, coding, and physics. Oh, so engineering is science, physics is science. So yeah, dad could definitely teach him that. Coding, they may take that as an elective, as far as that's concerned. But dad could definitely teach that to him as a class, and you can give him credit for it. The engineering would fall underneath the science, and the physics would fall underneath the science, and then the coding would fall probably under an elective. But you could absolutely, yes, 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 ma'am. If dad is wanting to teach it and the baby is excited about learning it, then yeah, he needs to be doing the work though. And I say that, so I'm not a traditional homeschooler to the effect where I feel like, oh, I'm just going to give them credit for something even though they didn't do it or they don't do it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I want you to do the work. So if he is going to do engineering with dad, then he needs to actually do it, is what I'm saying. If that was my child, like he needs to actually learn, like know something. Do you get what I'm saying? His career's in the military. Wasn't oh, that's amazing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely, Shelby. And if dad is interested in teaching him and is loving that, and if son is loving that, baby is loving that, I say son, I don't know if it's a girl or boy, it's none of my business, but I'm saying your baby, if your baby loves it, then and he's enjoying it, or I keep saying your baby's enjoying it and they are doing whatever it is that they want to do, then yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Shelby, absolutely, absolutely. That is great stuff. Engineering, any aviation, anything like that would fall under like, well, even mechanics. Mechanics would probably, I don't know if it's some like some part of that, but that may fall under an elective. And honestly, when it comes to your transcript, certain things like that may come down to creative wording of what it is. It just may come down to you creatively wording it. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is absolutely amazing. I wish I tried to get my son to become a pilot. He seemed like he was interested for 2 seconds and he was done. And that was disappointing because I was just hoping that he was going to really love it, but he wasn't. He wasn't there. He didn't like it so much. Okay. All right, guys, it is 8 o'clock. Well, it's 7:59. I said I was only going to be here about 30, 45 minutes, but y'all are just so great to talk to. Y'all have had interesting and wonderful, amazing conversation. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. I don't have to go. Oh, I do have to come back in the comments. I'll put the Brain Quest books that I was talking about. I'll put the curriculum book I was talking about, and then I will eventually share that new thing. Either I'll share it tonight or I'll share it tomorrow. It probably most likely though will be shared tomorrow because I'm gonna do a video to kind of show you what you can do with it. So probably will be shared tomorrow. But thank you so much for joining me. Y'all set your alarms, set yourself on a reminder. I will be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time throughout the week. So Tuesday, the rest of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, write down any question that comes to mind so we can talk about it. Okay. Let's have this conversation. Let's be successful in these homeschool streets. Let's help each other out. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Let's see. We can't hear because of the F-35 aircraft. Thank you for all your. Oh, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Okay, guys, I'm gonna jump off. Y'all have an absolutely wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you on Thursday, 7 p.m. Bye, guys.